What up gamers, Steve G here from Pickpocket Press. Today I've got a 5-minute video on low fantasy gaming. Danger and grit. Ew! So LFG has a host of mechanics that are meant to promote this feeling of genuine danger and ongoing attrition throughout an adventure. And I'm going to go through the top 10 now. Number 1. When a character is reduced to 0 hit points, healing magic, or any kind of healing, takes 1d3 minutes to function. So once a character is down in the course of a fight, they are out for the count. Number 2. If you are reduced to 0 hit points, you have to make what's called an all dead or mostly dead test. And to do that, you take your d20 and you have to make a con check. So you have to roll your constitution or less. So let's say my constitution is 13. Or 14, that PC is dead. Although if you have any dice left in your reroll pool, you can use one of those to reroll. So let's say that we had a reroll die. 19! Ooh, yeah! So that character is proper dead. Roll up a new one or take over a henchman. All right, numero 3. Let's pretend that we made that con save, and so our PC is alive. But because they were on death's door, they have to roll on the injuries and setbacks table, which is a d20 table. It has a whole range of things from broken arms to broken weapons, madness due to swelling on the brain, pestilent wounds that won't heal, just a whole range of things that have a lingering or longer term effect on the character. There is also, if you roll a 17 or more, an entry for minor scar, which is basically no additional effect. Number 4, short rests. So in LFG, a short rest only takes 5 minutes, similar to 4th edition. And you can take up to 3 in a 24-hour period, but you can only take one after a significant combat, and the GM decides whether combat is significant or not. But assuming you can take a short rest, you can then make willpower checks, which is a d20 check against your will, to recover certain resources. And the 3 options that you get are, you can recover half of the damage that you've suffered so far. So not half of your maximum hit points, half of your damage that you've suffered. Number 2, you can get back an expended class ability, a spell that has been cast, or use of some other ability, Barbarian Rage, or a thief's blinding flash powder. Or number 3, you can get back a reroll dice for your reroll pool. The thing to note about short rests is that nothing is guaranteed. You may make your willpower checks and fail them all and get nothing back. In fact, if you're really unlucky, you could use reroll dice in the attempt to make your will checks, fail that as well, and actually end up worse off than before you took the short rest. Which you might think, well, that character, they really had a hard time last battle and it's only really coming to affect them properly a few minutes later. But generally speaking, you'll recover something. Number 5, long rests. So in LFG, a long rest restores pretty much everything. It will probably get you back to full hit points. All your class abilities are restored. Your reroll pool is back to maximum. Your attributes are all back to maximum if you've suffered attribute loss for some reason. Except for luck, you only get 1 point of luck back, which is not a lot in the scheme of things. And the most important thing about a long rest is it takes 1d6 days, or 1d4 days if you're in a safe and comfortable environment like an inn. But it's not something that can be done overnight. It takes quite a long period. And if you have a combat, at any point in that period, you extend it by another day. So a long rest is not something you can do in the middle of a dungeon. It's probably not even something you can do in the middle of the wilderness, depending on how dangerous it is and random encounters. Number 6, luck saves. So a luck save is LFG's saving throw, and every time you succeed in a luck save, your luck attribute reduces by 1. Which means next time you want to make a luck save or perform a major exploit or a rescue or a party retreat, it just gets that little bit harder. Number 7, disease and madness. So LFG has a bunch of awesome tables for diseases, parasites, and madness. And the thing about them in this game is there's no way of getting rid of them instantaneously. So whether you use an apothecary's healing skills or the Purge the Accursed spell, the quickest you can get rid of these things with a magic is, for a disease, 1d3 days, and for a madness, it takes at least 1d6 days to reduce a madness by 1 severity level, say from serious to moderate. So the upshot of all that is, if you pick up slop bow or pink scab palsy, or you start having delusions about seeing things in the darkness, or you have to close every door behind you to keep the old ones at bay, if you suffer from any of these things in an adventure, it will probably stick with you for at least part of that adventure, but probably will not bleed into the next one. I mean, depending on how much downtime you take after the current adventure. Number 8, magic. So magic in LFG has an inherent risk and uncertainty that attaches to it. You can see my earlier video for more details, but essentially for arcane magic, you have to make dark and dangerous magic tests, and for divine magic, from time to time, you might have to make a divine rebuke test. In addition to that, we've removed a number of convenience spells or important spells. So we've removed, there is no raise dead magic in LFG. Once your character dies, there's no bringing them back. Number 2, there's no teleportation. There's no long range teleportation magic. There's no detect lies. There's no create food and drink. Those sorts of things have been taken out of the spell lists. Number 9, no balanced encounters. So LFG does not have a CR system or anything like that to match an encounter to your party level. It just doesn't exist, and it's very old school in that way. If you read an LFG adventure, it will say, for example, that in this room, in this cabin, are 3d6 ogres. So even the GM doesn't know how dangerous an overall adventure is going to be until the PCs attempt it, because when they go into that room, there might be 3 ogres in there, or there might be 18 ogres. There will probably be 10 or 11 ogres, but no one knows until the adventure is run. Number 10, last one, I promise. There are no get out of jail free cards. So what I mean by that is that LFG does not have the equivalent of, for example, in Shadowrun you can burn all your karma to automatically live and escape a situation, or in Warhammer you can spend a fate point or a resilient point to escape a situation, or give yourself a particular effect on a dice roll. That sort of thing, that automatic success does not exist in LFG. We do have rescues and the party retreat rule, which are designed to help keep the party alive and keep them going and help them succeed in an adventure, but they are not free. There is an opportunity cost to both of those because they expend luck, and luck is also your saving throw. And additionally, they are not guaranteed. So you have to make checks. You can't ever really know that they will succeed or not. And that's it, folks. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And I hope this gave you some insight into how LFG promotes a genuinely dangerous and gritty style of gameplay. And I'd love to hear your comments down below. Next video, I don't know what it will be yet, but I'm sure it will be something interesting. So until then, cheers.